Hey, everybody, we're back today. I have Amy and Cece with me. I don't know where Jin is. He went off to get his passport yesterday morning. I don't know if anybody's heard from him, so I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gathered here today, part two, but really, what are we going to be talking about?
Oh my, Karen, I thank you for having me. And Amy,
Oh, hi.
I'll tell you, excellent
Yeah.
talking to you. Uh, um, I don't know. I mean, where do we begin from here? It's such a difficult. This is going to go all over the place as far as I'm concerned. Um, Karen, quick question, and Amy too. Okay, the both of you.
Yes.
All the schools are closed right now. All right.
Yeah.
Any
Ours aren't closed at the moment, but they're going to be, I think, as of tomorrow. Announcements going to come out.
Okay, all the schools here, I mean, pretty
Oh,
much in the entire country are shut down.
yes.
So, where is the last place you would ever want to go to right now?
School.
Oh, the school.
Yeah, no. Why would you
Yes.
even
Oh yeah,
go
my
there?
son was telling me today that he thinks that what they're doing is they will obviously close the schools, and the message is that we might not be open till September. When
Hmm.
have you ever heard of that before?
That's
Never.
right.
So
Never.
who? Yeah, but the thing is how these college students that are about to graduate, that are seniors right now, they're going to get their diploma. What's going to happen to them? They're going to take their exams out. But I'm not too concerned about that because I'm sure they'll figure it out. But my thing is where they when they do these things and they want you to keep away from somewhere, they're up to something. So, I heard that there are a lot of parents that were concerned about this 5G network that they're setting up. And apparently they might be setting it up in the schools. And it's going to take them about a month to do. And so what I did earlier is I just kind of drove around to the public schools. Apparently the private schools might not be affected by this, but I drove around a couple of the public schools and I looked for
My
suspicious.
children's school in Hungerford has those towers on top of the school. Could you believe it? It's on top of the school. We've got
Yeah,
John of Gaunt School. They've got towers on top.
on
Wow.
top of it. Yeah, and they might be adding to it too, because I don't really exactly know what the 5G network looks like and what these components look like in the telephone poles or the existing towers that are actually on there. So I just been looking for suspicious vehicles. White cars is really what you got to look for. You look for white vans and white just sedans or pickup trucks that are kind of unmarked and stuff like that. So I've been looking for them, and I really haven't been seeing them.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a reason why they've closed all these schools down, and that's why I ask. You know, um, you know, and I mean, Amy and Karen. What do you? Why would they close something like this down if they weren't up to something?
So basically,
And what's
you can go to work, you can go and get bits from the shop, but you've got to be in at 5. So what's that? How can you be going to work but be in your house at 5 o'clock in the evening?
Mhm.
That's right. Yes. I heard the same thing about the 5G in the schools, CC.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point is that they're trying to get the 5G set up in the schools, and that's why they can't have the children there, because if they would get any of the effects that the 5G could cause, that would be horrible. So they have to keep them home until they get
So
everything
what
worked
is
out.
5G then? What is it?
Well, 5G is I mean, we all have 4G now. Now, the thing that I don't understand myself is there's a big thing with 4G. Nobody wanted the 4G to come through. And that's just, it's a different frequency that the telephones use. And apparently the 5G is 60 megahertz. Whereas
Yes.
I think the 4G, I'm not 100% sure where the 4G is. It's whatever, it's probably maybe 40 megahertz, but whatever it may be, it doesn't make a difference. Apparently, these cellular towers are obviously disrupting our being, in terms of disease. Now, people say that the coronavirus was, apparently it was rolled out in China, with the 4G, with the 5G network. And that's how they
Yes.
developed this coronavirus. I don't know. I can't verify any of that stuff. I mean, I've heard about it, and that's great, but I can't verify it.
Right.
I mean, look, this is a flu. That's all this is. This
Yeah.
is another,
Yes.
excuse for the flu. It might be more powerful, and
Have
it
you heard
sucks.
though that we might come out with this with one money? It'll be UN US dollar, UN UK pound, and
Mhm,
then it'll be basically how they get us into one monetary thing as well. So they're doing a myriad of things here. So the schools,
mhm.
the money, they look like they're
Yes.
arresting people. Just what is all this? And if it was real, why isn't it being done in front of us and we can see it happen? No, it's all been done through, I heard Tom Hanks, he's been, arrested for paedophilia and all this kind of stuff. He's out in Australia and they want to
Yes.
extradite him back to America. I mean, what is all this?
His whole, God, it really is pathetic. We look at these Hollywood actors, and people don't realize what satanic thing. I love Tom Hanks. Okay, he was one of my favorite actors of
He
all
was one of
time.
mine.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. I loved Hollywood, but now that I realize, and now that I see all of this satanic numbers and all of it, I mean,
I
I'm just like,
know.
oh man, these they don't have any, they have no talent. They weren't hired to do this for talent. They were hired to do this because they sold their soul, and that's it with Hollywood. They have all sold their
Yes.
soul, and it really does suck. And I I pray for the kids that are going to
So
Hollywood right
I've
now,
got I've got
and
a few things that I'd
I
like.
know.
I've got a few things I'd like to say. When I looked at RT News, which I used on one of my videos today, where she's saying that Paris is in lockdown, you could hear the swell of traffic in the background.
yeah,
While
Yeah.
she's telling everywhere to shut down, you could hear the swell. That humming noise. That when
Yes.
cars are
oh
there,
yeah,
you
yeah,
could
they're
hear
passing
that.
by, sure, sure.
So that was still happening. So there they are saying the streets are empty and everybody's on lockdown, while you can hear the traffic whizzing around.
I, I'll tell you, you know what? I mean, you got kings and queens in your country. We abolished that a long time ago, and and they've been there for decades and decades and decades.
Yes.
I'm not saying our country's any better because they've been chosen too. So don't get me wrong with that. But at least we have every 4 years or 8 years we get a new president in there who's a puppet, and they're all puppets. We have no control of what's going on. It's
That's
not our.
right.
They build this Republican, Democrat, liberal system to make you think that you have a choice, and that your
But
vote
you
actually
don't.
makes a difference, but you don't. You don't.
That's right.
It's already destined. That's why, when little Boris was on the road at 10 Downing Street, the size of a game piece on a, Monopoly piece, there he was, little Boris.
Mhm.
Do you know what's the saddest thing is? We've gone through getting England back to its own shores. We're supposed to be our own government now. And
I
then we've had that
know.
impeachment stuff with Trump, and now we're leading into this.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right.
And what
Yeah.
is exactly going on in England right now? I mean, so the schools have not been
No, we're
closed
not
down.
locked down at the moment, but because France, Italy, Spain, all these places have closed down, it looks like Boris will be making an announcement tomorrow. But I bet they
Yeah,
do it through the UN.
Through the UN. Yeah. You think
yeah.
they'll do it through the UN?
And I mean, any confirmed cases? I mean, there at all? I
Well,
mean,
a few people at my daughter-in-law's place had sore throats. They were told to go home 14 days.
sore throats.
Forgetting that we have flu every year and everybody get these bugs.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right. Yeah.
My daughter gets it all the time. I mean, she gets a sore throat, and then all of a sudden it's coronavirus.
I know.
It's amazing what's going on. I mean, St. Patrick's Day was yesterday. There wasn't a single bar here in New York open. I mean, you
Right.
I
realize how
know,
much
all the
money?
sporting things closed down. The schools are closing down. Nobody will be
Yeah.
buying any clothes or hot holidays or cars or houses.
I got my favorite place that I buy my clothes at Men's Warehouse. I got a notification that the store is closed. You can't come in, but yet you can order online, of course.
Hey,
But
CT,
Right.
CC, today I had 3 jobs. One of them said, I'm sorry, you're not coming in, you're on your own, sort of thing. Good luck.
yeah, yeah.
It's like we've gone to war or
It
something.
This is
is.
exactly what has happened. Yeah, here it is. Okay, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to do this, but it has been planned for a long time. Remember, I mean, the people that are running this society that we live in, this has already been planned, and they, what's next?
And you're
I'm
right. My
mostly worried
daughter-in-law
about it.
was showing a friend of hers took pictures of stores, and basically there was no toilet paper, no pasta, no
Nothing, nothing.
biscuits. You can order it
Well,
online because they can't. What it is they're not explaining it properly. Maybe people are ill, whatever's going on, and the food isn't getting on the shelves. That's what's happening. It's not that it's sold out, I don't think, but you can order it. You can order it online.
that's
Yeah, and
right.
Amazon. Exactly. Amazon already, well, they can actually get antiseptic, hand sanitizers and stuff like that. But apparently somebody made a boatload of money selling this stuff at a much higher price. So she was price gouging everything, and they shut her down, which means now there's absolutely no supply. So people don't realize that, yes, there is a supply of all of this. It's all coming back. But because
Yes.
of the price gouging, that the eBay, Amazon people were on, that made a lot of money, selling this stuff for $5 a pop. I have eight rolls of toilet paper at my house. I will be more than gladly to sell it to anybody for $20. If you want, just give me a call. I'll
Can I
give
just
you.
say something? There's something else as well, because even if we come out of this, the money isn't going to be what it was before. There's no way, prices are going to have to drop on insurance, on everything.
Mhm.
Basically,
Yes.
Denmark has gone on shutdown for 3 months, not to pay any main bills and pay no bills for 3 months. This is going to be extremely hard coming out of this, and when we do, it's going to be our houses are going to be worth less. Everything's going to be less. It's got to be.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree with you.
And do you know something else as
I
well? We all assume that it was a mud flood that took the people. It was probably something like this.
Yeah, you're right, Karen.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny because at this point in time, right now, to get this economy going and kicking it back into where it was, and I can't even say, I'm just saying, 3
But
weeks
you know
ago.
something, Stacey, there's no way we could have carried on like that. I already worked out, like, our council tax
No, there's no way.
was £150 a month, roughly, or
Hmm.
mine was. So if you were on the minimum wage, it would take you 20 hours of that week just to pay for that one bill.
Well,
That's minimum wage.
Well, that's the
well.
beauty of the credit cards that they had. They have credit card companies outside in front of colleges. Giving these 20-year-old, kids credit cards so they can just work up debt. Meanwhile, they also have another $120,000 debt, which costs to go to college here,
Yes.
and on top of their head. So they have all of this debt with such a high interest rate, 20% interest rate, 21%. You're never going to pay that
I mean,
off,
everybody's in
you know.
debt. So what happens now? Now the economy's crashed.
But yeah, it tanked. I just heard it just
Yes,
went
why
down
would they want to
2,000
do?
points.
Why would they want to do this? I just don't get it.
It's,
There's going to
it's
be civil unrest.
I know. That's right.
We are
I
going to.
think
I just don't see any of this as good. I find it frightening. I mean, I didn't really want to work anymore, and I've got my wish, but I didn't think it was going to be like this.
I know. That's right,
I mean, there are
Karen. I
some numbers
know.
and things. My daughter-in-law's getting them for me so that I can call in tomorrow. And I'm just, they can't chuck us all out because nobody's working.
Mhm.
That's right.
It's not going to
I mean, you're
collapse.
told to stay in your house. So how can we go to work and all that?
I know they want you there, and that's my whole thing. They want you in your house, okay? And
Yes.
that's why I'm saying they're to
Yeah, but you know
something.
what,
And
CC,
that's
as
Right.
why
well,
it's
changing
either
the
the,
subject slightly, I put a video out the other day.
sure.
Stan Smith put his camera on his roof, and Amy will tell you the clouds are so low, and there is a star in
Oh,
the
yes.
sky that's very low. It's like the sky's coming down.
Yeah, I remember I spoke to you about that the other day, and yeah, no, the I'll tell you the cloud level, it's they chemtrail right now. It's all. I mean, this is it. We're covered because there's a storm coming in tomorrow, so it's all white here. And
Yeah, same here.
On
yeah,
Stan, right,
yeah,
I didn't put it out because all this stuff with Corona, this thing picked up rather a lot. But the next video I watched of Stan, he was showing the sky. It was just chemtrail. You could see the line of the chemtrail, one after the other, going across the
yeah.
sky.
Yeah, and that's why everybody's this concern about this epidemic with the coronavirus, but yet they're still hitting us up in the skies. So it's all
Exactly.
bullshit. It's all nonsense. This is not really not. This is nothing. This is a flu
Well,
running
this is
rampant.
us doing this because they say sometimes that the reason we don't get the sun in the sky is because that's how the people are feeling. Have we made this recession then?
Hmm.
In a parallel universe or something?
Yeah, no, they made it absolutely, and it's working well. I mean, here we are. Yeah, we're not working during the daytime. I'm at home. I shouldn't be at home. This is very unusual.
Right.
Just as you are and everybody else are. This is affecting every single person in the entire world. I
Mm.
mean, this
This,
isn't a joke. This is real. This is really happening. This is unbelievable that we're here to see this.
I know.
Unprecedented. This is not. Oh man, I'm telling you, this is beyond the crash in the Roaring Twenties, if you want to call it that. This is way beyond that. This is a totally different situation. And what's
Oh,
next?
and guess what? China, my daughter-in-law was showing me one of those memes. It said that China's economy is okay because they shut down. They're okay now.
Yeah, yeah, they shut down. They shut down. That's the only way.
And
I,
they
and
aren't going through what we're going through.
that's what
Wow.
I mean. What they have to do with our economy right now is they've got to shut down trading. That's it. There's no more trading at all until they figure out what the hell's going on here. You cannot, the Dow Jones went down to another 2,000 points today
Oh,
in New York.
wow.
Just shut it down. We're all losing our 401k. Don't let anybody trade at all. I mean, this is an epidemic
Do
in
you know
terms
what
of
happens
disease.
though? What happens right now is that lots of businesses or the little ones will be selling and the bigger ones will buy them up.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And then this is how like places like YouTube and all that. There used to be Yahoo Talk. There used to be all these other things. They get bought out.
that's
And
right.
then we'll end up with only a couple of places looking after it. And also YouTube are making quite a few changes at the end of this month. There'll be
Oh,
no more
yes.
classic. You won't be able to upload that way. You'll have to do it through the new system they've got. I don't want the new system. But anyway,
Hmm.
that's what's going to happen. So that's something else that's happening. And Google is the globe.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ace. I love that globe. It was so
Uh,
nice when I was a glober.
It was a bit more simple, wasn't
It
it?
was
Because you
so
just accepted
comforting,
what you were told. But that's not true.
that's
No,
right.
I don't know. And you know what, Karen, what you just said is, is absolutely correct, because we spoke about this earlier, and I'm telling you, it looks like they're just going to kill all the small companies now at this point. And I'm not talking of restaurants and delis. Forget about that. I'm talking about anything that's going to be a risk for Yahoo, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, all these small companies are now going to be combined in some point, and this is their agenda. I mean, and it's working obviously very well. I mean, it's screwing all of us. We're all screwed right now. We're all feeling
That's
this.
right.
The
I mean,
video I put out early on Unscrambled, the note was that the Pope's going, all these companies are going.
mhm.
Not only may
Yes.
they go bankrupt, the people are resigning, and they're saying they've got this virus just because they've actually been arrested. But if it's true, then
Yes.
why not just be honest about it? Why do we have to play all these games? We want the truth.
I
Yeah.
know. Yes. How long do you think they've been planning this whole thing?
Well, I
See.
think for a long time, because I put in my video, when we did the Brexit thing, we
Yeah,
basically flatlined overnight over that. Our money wasn't worth, like we went to bed, we were the rich man of Europe. We woke up and we were the poor man of Europe. But somewhere along the line, it didn't seem to cause a worldwide one. So maybe that
right.
was one. I don't know, but that did the same thing to my cleaning. I just lost lots of jobs,
Yes,
and it's happening again.
I know. I think here they're trying to make a way for people that can't work to get some kind of help or something. I was seeing something about that, get some kind of help until all this gets sorted out or whatever. But it's just really horrible. And I've never seen anything like it. And I never thought it was going to get this big when we heard about the virus coming out. I just didn't think it was going to amount to all this. And it's just really terrible. I tried I had an email from the White House because I wrote to them about something once, and now I get emails. And they sent me an email saying thank you from the president and the vice president to us Americans who are we're being so cooperative, and I tried to reply. I said, well, we the people are not okay with this. We the people know there's something much more going on, and we are not okay with this. But it wouldn't let me send the email. It said that the address, it couldn't forward it. But I was ready to just put the email out and let them know we're not so, most of us are not so okay with everything and just want to cooperate. Like, we want to know what's going on because we know it's got to be something. As soon as I heard about all the quarantines, it reminded me they want to get us kept inside so they could do something or
Do you know
something
something else as
else.
well, Amy? On a lot of these messages,
Yes.
and they're saying that they're doing these arrests and that, it's all got child trafficking in it. Now that hasn't stopped since the Napoleon time.
Yeah.
Unscrambled Channel has been reporting that since the 1800s they've been taking our children.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
exactly. I mean, that's a horrifying thought. I
Oh,
mean,
it
these
is.
sickos. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Um, but that doesn't have to do with closing the schools.
Yeah.
They've closed the schools for a specific reason.
Once you
And
have a
I'll tell you,
virus
I
on the
mean,
loose, they would, wouldn't they?
well, yeah, that's a perfect excuse. I mean, what else could you possibly think of, to close schools?
Right.
And I mean, but really, if a school is closed, no, I mean, your kids aren't going to go there. It's totally vacant. Nobody, no adult will ever
I
even go
think what
near
it
there.
is that the schools, because obviously my daughter-in-law has my granddaughter and so forth like that, on the messages were basically the childminder, all these people, they're starting to say Friday. So tomorrow, Boris will say something like it's closing down tomorrow.
Yes.
Mhm.
There have been police in London today. They're ready to take over.
Oh, well.
Not police, the army,
Army,
sorry,
that's what I was going
military,
to
the
say. I
military.
thought it
Yeah,
was the
sorry, the
military.
military. What?
Yes.
Sorry, the military are out in London today. So they're getting ready to take over.
Yes. It sounds like martial law.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is, and they're going to tell you
Do
when you can
you think it
leave
hasn't helped?
and come and
Yeah.
go from
Do
your
you think
own
it hasn't
house.
helped
Yes.
with, say, channels even like mine? There's loads of channels like mine trying to tell people the truth that something's wrong and here's the information. They know a lot of us are woken up.
Exactly. And Karen, didn't you say something about that YouTube had said that videos are going to start
Oh yeah,
going?
I had a message on my
Um,
panel. Yeah, so basically, due to the workforce, you understand, we won't be monitoring the videos as good, but you might get your videos blocked. I thought they didn't say sorry; they just said videos that are okay may get blocked. I mean, what's that about? But YouTube's running all right. The adverts are running all right.
right. I think it's a way of them being able to take people's videos down under the excuse that they didn't have enough people to properly monitor them or whatever. But really, it's an excuse that they can take your video down, even though it doesn't violate any guidelines. But they could still take it down if they don't want
And don't forget, I
your.
said they've got these changes at the end of this month, quite conveniently, in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, well, they did that change. I don't know, about 6 months ago, where they required you to put, something on there that this is, parental discretion for all your videos.
Yes.
And I mean, whatever else they're going to do, who knows? I mean, they're suppressing everybody on YouTube. And unfortunately, this is my only way of communicating to everybody.
Right.
That's it. I'm not going to sign up for some other nonsense. I mean, this is it for me.
Yeah.
So once they take YouTube down, that is the only way you're going to get rid of me.
Oh,
So just ask you
that's
then,
right.
That's the way. That's the
Cece,
way I
how do you
look at it.
feel right now with what's happening? Does it make you feel happy, sad, depressed, worried? What does it make you feel like?
Good question. I know it's going to come to an end in a short period of time. I know we're probably going to bounce back in terms of the economy in a short period of time, and it's probably going to be an explosion, as far as I'm concerned. When it's actually going to happen, I don't know. And what's after this is where I'm really concerned, because
Right.
this has been going. I just sent a link, and they had Bowles doing that, episode back in the 1970s. And this is from England. I mean, that guy was one of the movie stars from, I think, a James Bond movie. And, I mean, I was very, I mean, I was very shocked that Hollywood would put something like this out in the 1970s, but yet who was awake back in the 1970s? Nobody.
That's
Nobody was
right.
even, I mean, really, I mean, they just, at that point, they figured out, when Admiral Byrd went down there and screwed around there for 30 years, they didn't even realize, that the Earth was flat, that we were covered with a dome, that we're stationary, and
We did know, but then 1960s happened.
yeah,
Well, we've got
Yeah.
the wars. We've got First World War, the Second World War. Then we get to the 60s. We've got, after being electric and all these other things were happening, we had mobile telephones, we had all this. Then we get the wars. Then we get oil. Then we get petrol. We get television. We get going to the moon. And then we're a globe.
Yes.
yeah, and they were working on electric cars back in the 1920s. I
Right.
mean, yeah, but they just gave that up. There's
Yes.
absolutely no reason for any of us to be driving around in a car that's a combustible engine at all
Right.
whatsoever. None. We figured it out back in the 1920s. They put it away. The Rockefellers said, "Oh no, no, no! What are you doing? No, we need
Yes.
gas. We need gasoline." And Con Ed, same thing. I mean, well, not Con Ed, but Con Ed is the electric company here in New York State. But when they figured out that there's absolutely, Tesla figured out that there's a way to harness energy, inside of whatever, this flat land that we live on. No, there's no meters on the houses. There's nothing. There's nobody paying for the electricity. I mean, it's
Right.
so trained. It's unbelievable. I mean, it just seems like a handbook of
Yes.
how to control every single society, as far as I'm concerned. And then that's what we're in right now. And we
Sense,
are
can you
here.
imagine if you can't go to work for 3 months and you can't pay your bills and they've got to let go of all that, then none of us will be working for 3 months.
No, it's not going to happen. The bankruptcy would be all over
Well,
the place.
Denmark has done it. Denmark has announced that with all this shutdown, and you've got to isolate yourself.
Yeah, and most of these people that work in restaurants and the service, no,
Yeah.
they can't sustain this. They're not going to be able to sustain this for more than 2 weeks. So what's going to happen? I mean, you're telling me this is a countrywide, a worldwide epidemic that's going to shut down everything and reset because of an epidemic of only a couple of thousand deaths? Come on.
Exactly. That's
It's
right.
just, this is
It's
absolutely
sick.
outrageous.
Yes.
Amy,
Outrageous
Amy,
and
as you're
sick.
there, Amy, what's your
Yes.
thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on it all?
Oh, well, I'm like Cece. I'm concerned about the long-term effects of what this is going to do, but I just can't. I just never thought we would see it get this bad to the point we're at now. I had no idea that it would get to this point, and it seems like nobody's really questioning it that I know. Everybody's just kind of, going along, and I just think that they're up to something. I just don't know what it could be. So, yeah. Can you all hear me?
I can
I'm
hear you.
getting an
Sorry, Jin
echo.
is now trying to call me, so I'll have to
Oh,
wait till he's
okay.
finished, and
I'm
I'll send him a message. Yeah, I just
Um,
see the whole thing. I've lost all my jobs.
I know it's horrible.
One by one, 3 today.
yeah, we 90% of our business is gone. I mean, really, it's just unbelievable.
Yes.
It's it's awful. Oh, he's gone now. So I'll send him a message.
All right.
I'm not.
Okay. Oh, that was
Did it echo
making me echo. Yeah.
through? Sorry.
Yeah, it sounded like
Every time
we were entering the Mars atmosphere.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
It's
No,
all
he's
right.
calling again. Well, I've just cut the phone
It's like I'm
call.
coming in. Here, hold on. I'm attempting time travel right now at this point.
Come on, you can come here. You can be here any moment.
Aw.
No, I hope he comes through. It'd be nice to talk to him.
I'm just got to try and give him the link. Hang on, I've just got to try and give it to him.
Okay.
So he's 12 hours ahead of us. Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
6:15 in the morning
Send
right
it to
now.
him on Hangout, so he can
Something
come in
like
on this
that.
one.
Yeah, I got to give it to him. He's a trooper at
I
6:15.
know.
You
That's
know, I'm in my
right.
car driving to work at that time. Yeah, no, I
Right.
could do a live.
Yeah, it might not be quite as early as 6:15, but I can't remember. I'm not good at doing Japan's time zone.
Well,
But
Thailand is definitely 12 hours ahead of us. So it's
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it
I
might
Japan's
be
got to be on the same time zone right there.
right. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure the trolls will figure it out.
I
And
think he's got it
Exactly.
now. I think. Oh, he's asking me. Yes, Jin. I've got to write back to him and just say yes. Hang on 1 second. I'm just a bit like I can't even put it into words how I feel right now.
no,
It's
no, no.
same with
How can
me.
you? I mean, every business is just. I mean, the bars were closed down for St. Patrick's Day. I mean, really, that is unheard of.
That's
I'm
right.
coming back from dropping my daughter off to see her friend, and everything is vacant. The owner
Yes.
of the biggest establishment pretty much around Yonkers, New York, is just sitting outside of
Mm-hmm.
his business. He's just
Oh,
like in his car, on the phone, and I feel bad for him. I mean,
I
I don't know,
know.
I mean, this is just brought everybody down to their knees.
It
Um,
has. And it's
How do these
hard to
companies
say.
recover from this?
they can't. They're going to lose
Uh,
thousands and thousands of dollars, and how are they going to sustain the employees that are in there and with no
My
relief?
son today had to close down some restaurants because he works, like he's like a version of Costco's, but it's not under Costco's, it's under another name. But
mm-hmm.
he had to sack 60% of his workforce today.
Oh
Hmm.
my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So now you have more. Now you have all these people out of work, and now they're going to collect, unemployment from the government, which are not going to be able to cover them.
right.
So I mean, where is all of this money coming from? So that at some point, there has to be some sort of relief, and why they would create something like this. Um, So,
Hey,
hey,
Sorry,
there
I'm
he
late,
is. I
guys and
see him.
dolls.
Hi, Jen.
Sorry, I'm late,
Hey,
guys and
Jen.
dolls.
Hey, no problem.
How you
Hello.
doing?
I
Yeah,
mean,
good. I have to do the laundry.
is the sun even up over there yet?
It is. Yeah, yeah. It's just
Okay.
gone 7. I was an hour I was an hour late. I had to do my laundry. Yeah,
Okay.
Oh.
the
I'm
whole
actually
family's
doing it.
washed.
how's Japan today? Are you all outside or are you all self-isolating?
Everybody's getting on with life as usual, albeit they're wearing masks.
Yeah,
I went
a
to
lot
the
of them.
immigration. I went to the immigration bureau yesterday, and 85 to 90% of the people in there. Now, these are people from around the world wanting to get their visas and permanent residence and stuff, all wearing masks.
Wow.
Yeah,
I took
no
pictures.
doubt.
Okay, and I sent them on Discord and to a few friends on Hangout, so I can load some up here later on. Really amazing.
Okay.
Mm.
Hey,
Well,
oh,
basically, the whole of Europe is in lockdown, Jin. We're waiting to go on
Yeah.
lockdown. I've lost all my jobs. This is just bonkers. CT is at home
Yeah.
today. Amy feels the same. It's just horrible what they've
Yeah,
done.
it's
Yes.
ridiculous. Here in Japan, everyone's going to work as normal, albeit the traffic is light. Some are staying home, of course, because the kids are
Wow.
off school. So it means that they can't afford babysitters. Those who can are going to work. So life's as normal. You go to the supermarkets, stocked with food. There's no
Isn't
panicking
that crazy
at the
though?
moment.
Even Jin, the schools are closed down in Japan, but you can go to
Right.
work. So I just
Yeah,
Right.
wonder what the hell is going on.
exactly. Not only can they
Yes.
go to work, kids can play outside. Look, Prime Minister Abe said, children, to relieve the stress from the children, allowed them to play outside. So you can play outside. Kids can play
Yes.
outside. Well, there you go. Mixed messages.
Right.
Is the virus
Yes.
contagious
Many
or
mix.
not? Is it
well,
airborne?
here you have.
What's
That's
going on?
right.
They recommend you keep a 6-foot distance from anybody here.
That's right.
So
That's what they say in
Yeah.
Europe as well.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, they're dividing all of us to a point where they want us to quarantine ourselves if we see anybody within a 6-foot distance. I myself was walking,
I know, listen,
back.
Cece, me and my family were doing a bit of a joke. We were doing toe tapping because we can't cuddle each other now. So let's have a couple of toe taps.
So big.
In
The-
Nigeria, they're elbowing each other.
Yeah,
Hello, how
yeah,
you doing?
we're doing the elbow, but yet, oh no, wait a minute now. Your clothes can touch something with the coronavirus. I mean, we
Right. Yeah.
we you know what? Just stand away from me. I don't want to be next to anybody.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
nuts.
Right.
hold on.
It's
Fair
nuts. It is nuts. I mean, in Britain, the government has given the police powers to detain.
Hello?
It's all right. He's still there. I think we might have.
Oh, I think we've lost him for a moment. We'll have to wait for him to come back. Isn't that crazy? So Japan, this is what I don't understand, why the English people haven't
Yes.
just got on with things. Everybody, the messages, people that I've cleaned for a 10, 11, I'm sorry, you can't come in for 3 months.
Yeah,
Right.
In
you
Japan,
know
they're
what?
just getting on with things.
They're just going on with things, and that's to be expected because they're hard workers out there. Here it's different. It's New York is it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's panic mode here, but
Yeah.
it's definitely different.
It has to be
People.
panic mode. But you know what? I came back on the tubes in London on Monday night, and it was only about 6:30, and it looked like it was 3 o'clock in the morning. There was hardly anybody on
Yeah.
the tubes.
Oh
No one
yeah,
was
no,
talking to each other.
yeah. Don't get me wrong, Karen. There is nobody on the road. I mean, there's a few people shopping, here
Yeah,
and
sorry
there.
about that.
There he is. He's there. He's back.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, Wi-Fi issues now. I was just
Oh.
saying that the British police have been given extra powers to detain anyone that might have been affected by the virus,
Mhm.
to the point where they can take you to a quarantine center. Now I'm thinking, why would the police need to be involved? Because it's
I
a private
know.
issue. It's a private issue between you, the affected, and the doctor. So if you get stopped by the
Exactly.
police for a fender bender or a tail light violation, why would they need to detain you if you've got the virus? Why would they need that power?
Well, I was saying earlier on, Jin, my daughter-in-law's work, they said if you've got any kind of illness, don't come in for 2 weeks. You
Yeah,
know, that.
my brother, similar. My brother got a letter from the NHS stating the same thing 2 weeks ago because his colleague went to Italy, came back, he had the virus, so he had to stay home for 2 weeks now. Okay,
Well, he had
my brother's
flu.
still going
He
to
had
work.
flu or something. He didn't have. I don't know if there is any such a virus. They're just using a strain of the flu. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Although I actually very quickly heard that China's the one that did it because it was payback time for the world now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's another thing. Yes.
In Manchester, in the UK, Manchester, people are worried because all the venues like concert venues, cinemas, restaurants, they're all closed now, okay? And the problem there is wages, salaries, rents to pay, mortgages to pay. People are worried. Some people are in tears because a cinema was shut down to the end of March. So all the staff was laid off and some of them were in tears because they don't know how they're going to survive.
Oh, that's
Yeah, and
awful.
that's the same with here in New York. I mean, at this point of the game, I mean, really, you're working at home right now, and how long is that going to last? I mean, that's not going to last for people that are in sales. That's not going to last
Right.
for people that, that are in the working in the supermarket. That's not going to last
What about people who
very
are
long.
trying to sell clothes? What about all the sales people on those telephones? They're all going to be laid off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yes.
You know what, they call me all the time, so screw them. But anyway, no, I mean,
You know what I
but
mean, though.
no, really. I
It's
mean,
not about what
this
they're
is
selling, but there's just going to be loads more people unemployed now.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. I agree with 100%.
Really sorry to hear about your situation. That is hit you, Karen. That's not fair, really. But
I know.
this government's out of
Well, I
control.
think, where we're heading? Well, I think we're heading the same way like Denmark, where you don't have to pay your bills for a few months.
Well, that's what the government said. Like people will not, businesses will not have to pay business tax for a year. So that's what the chancellor said today, basically.
Yeah, but
But
it's not
how are
going to
they
be
going
the same when we come out of this. You're going to have all the debt, and
Yeah.
we're going to have a very low economy.
Yeah, exactly. And how are they going to control that? Because there are other people working the system here in this country that know how to work the system. That they come here to America and they get all these government checks, and that's great. Yeah, beautiful, fine. I'm paying for all of their stuff, but the people that are actually paying for it, how are they going to govern all of this? Or how are they going to evenly divide where the
I
checks
never
go
understood how
and
they were
what
going to pay for,
businesses are going to go?
we've had the European Union. I never understood how they were going to pay for that. All those countries wanting roads and infrastructure. That's why Turkey wanted to join. You've got all these places that want all this stuff. They made it all. Who pays it? Who's paying for it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Well,
The suckers known as the
Yeah,
taxpayers,
well,
That's right. The
aka mugs.
taxpayers. Yes. Oh my.
I guess I'll have
Yeah.
to raise my hand on that one. I
Yes.
am a taxpayer, so
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Taxpayer,
right.
hundreds
unpaid
of
tax, yeah.
Yes.
We don't even know what the truth is, do we? We don't really know what's going on at all.
Absolutely
That's the
right,
thing.
Karen. Absolutely right. We
Yes.
don't know what this virus really is because the man who knew everything is dead. They silenced
Yeah.
him. He's 34 years of age. He died. What did he know? When did he know it? Why did he know it? What
Was
did
he
do?
real? Was he
Yeah,
real?
was it? Right, exactly. This is it. Because like the news
But
is
have you
like
ever known anything in your life where everything is going to be shut down and no, you can't
no,
go in the
never.
park, no
Never.
sporting event? I mean, gee.
It's crazy. This is unprecedented. It's overreaction, and now it's causing harm to many people's around the world. Anyway,
The thing is, the people
That's
are
right,
listening because
Jim.
we should have just got on with our lives, and everybody's falling.
Well, Japan is the perfect model there, isn't it? Japan is a perfect model. Look they want to host the Olympics, so of course, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is working, hell over leather to make sure that the Olympics go on. But at the same time, He's saying to people not to panic, live your life as normal. If your kids are wanting to go out, let them go out and play. So he must know something. Must know
That's
something. It can't
right.
be that bad, can it?
Exactly, Jen. He must know something, and
Yeah.
I just can't imagine President Trump putting up with all this when he was for Make America Great Again, and he was so excited that he was going to get the economy back on track. And
You can see why he wanted the wall built then, can't you then?
yes, yes. Why do you think, Karen? With
Well, because
the
if he'd have got it built by now, then there'd be no, like, you would be able to get out and no one would be able to get in.
that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
always, good point there. Yeah. I always thought that wall was a prison for the US anyway, really. Wasn't to keep the Mexicans out,
Yes.
to keep you guys in now.
Oh, I
I tell you,
know.
America, no thanks, mate. I'll tell you
But
that.
don't you think it's really crazy when we've had like the Berlin Wall has been taken down? You know, the European
Yeah.
Union
Yeah.
failed, we've left,
Yes.
other countries would have left. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work. And then we get to America, oh, they're going to stick a wall up.
That's right.
Yeah. Terrible.
That's
It's
very
terrible what's going on.
awful.
Honestly, you know, we're lucky here. I mean,
They're
I
telling
must say
us
You
we are
all
are
the
lucky.
time
lucky.
that we need all this stuff, when actually all we are is very peaceful people.
Hmm. I mean, people have to walk their pets. So they're walking. You've got people walking their pets. You've got elderly couples going for their walks. You've got joggers on the jog. They're jogging now around here. People are just living life as normal, going to work, rushing like normal. Headless chickens, the usual darting in and out of the traffic. It's all happening. People are just carrying on.
Well,
People are just carrying on, except for the Tokyo Immigration Bureau, where I went yesterday to get my visa and stuff. I was amazed. I didn't think it would be that many people. Up to about 90% of people had masks on. All the staff had masks on. So all the Japanese staff that worked in the bureau, they all had masks. And then you had the
yeah.
people who were trying to get
And
their
they say
visas in
those
the
things
queues.
don't even work. You have to have a certain one, or they don't work.
Exactly. Now, the ones that had the best ones were the ones that you could tell were specially made ones, like sports ones with filters. They're the best ones. Everybody else had the paper type. Let me see if I can load up a couple of pictures for you in the back
Oh,
here in the back chat here, and you get
Put
an
it
idea
put
of what
it
we're talking about.
in the group one, because this one
Yes,
doesn't exist. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna put it in a group
Cece,
one.
Cece, is it quiet in New York then?
I mean, in terms of, yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, people are just going about their business. I mean, in terms of, I see a lot less traffic, of course, on the highways.
yeah.
But yet people are just kind of doing their own thing, and they're walking around with masks. They don't want to, I was going to say earlier, I saw an elderly couple walking down the street. They probably about, 85 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't want to come near me. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh man, I mean, it's gotten that bad where they've gotten, and I can understand that because, I mean, they've gotten so many people paranoid about this. And if you're
Exactly.
85 years old, I mean, and you don't want to come near somebody like me, who's walking down the sidewalk, who makes, I mean, it's amazing how the media has pounded and pounded and pounded a generation of people,
Yes.
that they just don't realize that all of this is just complete nonsense. It's all lies. They're hiding something. They're doing something.
Yes.
They
That's
want you
right.
locked in your house. They want you in there. And that's a reason. They want you in your house. They don't want you looking outside. They want you in there on the TV, on the computer, and
Yeah.
distracted. And this is
Amy,
a perfect.
Amy, do you think it's 5G? CC, do you think it's 5G? Jin, do you think it's 5G? Oh, he's muted.
I
CC,
I'm
think
I'm
CC,
so.
Amy.
I
Yeah, I'm
think
not
it,
sure.
it
I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't. I'm looking for the white trucks. I have time now, and I'm
yeah.
looking for the white vans. And believe me, when I see one, I will put a live video up, and I will confront that person. I will ask him, "What are you doing?" I have
Yeah.
plenty of public schools around here, and I don't think it's going to be the private schools that they're going to be hitting. I think it's going to be the public schools if they're going to lay out this 5G network. and they're
Right.
actually going to install it. But I mean, the antennas are already up in most of these schools anyway. So I don't know really what exactly they're going to be doing. All I know is that, look, you're working. I mean, I understand the frequencies, and you're working on a 60 frequency megahertz. That is not healthy for a human body, and for something
Right.
to be around that for an 8-hour period of time, a child,
Yes.
that's especially in
Yeah.
elementary school.
Well, then how do we ever go back to
Yeah. Why
work
do we need
then?
it?
How do we go back to
Why do we
work
need
then?
it? Why do we need
Exactly, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, Jen. Is why do we need this? Everything is fast enough for me, as far
Me
as I'm concerned.
too.
I'm
Yeah.
purely
Yes.
happy.
Yeah.
Do you want any faster internet or anything like that? Well, I think we've reached the peak of the of the internet downloads, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Look, and
Yeah.
how much faster is it going to be? It's total nonsense. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
it's
just
Yes.
lunacy.
another
You can
excuse
send
to
an
put another.
email. You can send an email, blitz, lightning fast, but it fries your brain. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I mean, what
yeah,
what
yeah, and
more faster do we need? Look at it. Jin's in Japan. You're in America. I'm in the UK. There's no time delay. What
Right.
do we need?
Exactly.
The quality of the videos on YouTube has been disgustingly poor. But what did we? Well, I don't think digital was digital. It couldn't have been because our
mhm.
videos have been so bad. But what? Oh, I just
Yeah. Well said.
Yes, I agree.
Well said,
Karen,
Karen.
you
Absolutely.
sound like you're right next to me right now.
I know.
Everybody
Yeah.
sounds like. I mean, you sound like we're in the same room. What more do we
yeah,
need?
Jin. I
I mean,
know Jin,
this is
Exactly.
Cece,
it.
Amy.
We've peaked in terms of
Right.
technology. I mean,
Yeah.
this is it. We don't
How
need
much
anything
more
else.
speed do we need? How much more
None.
speed do we need? I mean,
That's right.
Absolutely
it's
not a thing.
And we probably
lunacy.
know that the only reason things are slowing down is like, if you buy, say, something like it through Virgin, like I have, and they say, well, they explain like there's 10 or 15 people on that line, and then they stick loads of other people on the line, that will slow the line down. But that's why,
Yeah,
not because we haven't got the technology.
that's right.
That's what they want you to believe, and that's why what the bigger companies come in and say, hey, look, we're gonna increase your internet access, and it's going to be a lot
Yeah,
faster
because I bet
if
our
you spend.
governments stay. I bet no one goes from there. I bet we'll still have the same governments in a couple of weeks' time. It's not like they fall away, is it? Like everything else is.
That's
Exactly.
true.
Well,
Exactly.
and then they also tell you, I mean, well, I'm just talking about the cable companies. They'll tell you if we can increase your speed by getting more, speed by spend another $15 a month. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, now because what they'll tell you is because your child has an iPad and there's 5 other components working on of this Wi-Fi, component, and it was originally made for that much internet traffic. So if we can up it and you spend another $15 and get yourself more into a monthly payment, we'll make it more than happy to add all of that extra speed for you. But then 5G comes out and I mean, it's just, it really is unbelievable how people are buying this nonsense. God, wake the hell up.
So can I ask
Just
then, because
wake up.
we've been going nearly an hour. We'll start with Jin because he's not been here. Jin, so what's your thoughts on all this? Because I don't, I didn't even want to go to work. I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Yeah,
Right.
well, my thoughts on this is obviously it's way out of control. It's overkill. It's a
Mhm.
practice for population control. I mean, giving the police extra powers to detain people who might have the virus or not. Why would they need that kind of power? It's just giving them more control. This is it. It's the containment. They're containing the world. This is what they're doing. It's a practice run for something else that's going to come later on in the future, I think, if not now.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right,
Yes.
Jim.
That's all I can say.
I'm going to send you a pic right now. Let me see if I can do this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to
I've
figure
just
it
sent
out.
it.
I'll let you talk.
Okay, Amy,
Sorry.
what's your
Yeah.
thoughts then?
Oh, I agree with Jen. I think it's some kind of a practice run for something. And it's just the whole thing is so distressing to me. I've never seen anything like it before. And I just don't understand why they would allow this to happen and who all is involved and everything. It's just so many questions in my mind. It's hard to say, but I do think that the virus part is pretty much a hoax. It's just an excuse to get us to be controlled and kept in our houses and things like that. And even when we were looking at the Watts case, we were figuring out, Karen and I, when the Unscrambled channel, that they were trying to put fear in people about their own family members, and they kind of wanted you to only trust the police and the government, and so they just want us to be reliant on our governments, and
We
that's what
are,
I
aren't we?
think a
Because
lot of it
we're in
is.
Absolutely perfectly put.
we're
That
living
was
in
Karen.
nanny
That's
state.
exactly it.
We're living in a nanny
Yes,
state. And that's why they've got control over our supermarkets. You know
exactly.
what? Listen, Amy, on that, sorry, Cece and Jin, I know you don't know too much about this case, but on that case, Amy, I thought about it. Shanann's in the
Yeah,
wrong era. Her hair's not right. She's like the 2000s. They made that.
that's what my
They
daughter
made.
said.
Yeah, that's where I remember it from. They made that a few years ago. They've been planning to do this, and look how many millions of people they got looking at that case. They've made a book.
Exactly.
They've made a film.
Yes, that's right, Karen. Yes, and it was just like to see how many people would believe it as
We know
well,
the
I think.
discovery document doesn't add up. We know that the drive doesn't add up.
Right. And it a lot, but nobody really caught it for the most part. You caught
No,
it,
they didn't.
yeah, and we caught it, but a lot of people didn't, and we just believed all of this. But it seems like a lot of the agenda was just to get people fearful of everybody except for the police and the governments. It seemed like to me, and they had it
So
planned.
we've been like attracted that way. We've
Yeah,
got, like I said, we've had the impeachment, we've had the Brexit, we've been looking, other things have been going on, and we've been, sidelined. We've been looking at other stuff. Something else is going. I don't even know what it is,
yeah.
but I cannot understand how they'd want to crash the economies. But maybe that's it. We just couldn't carry on the way we were going. We couldn't.
Yeah, that sounds right to me,
I
Karen.
told you, Amy, loads of times, didn't I? If you're at, say, if you're, I told you, on minimum wage, it would take you 20 hours of a week just to pay for that one bill. One bill.
Yes,
Your council
one
tax.
bill. Yes, that's
Okay,
right.
CC's uploaded a picture, which is I don't know, is that a police car? What is this vehicle I'm looking at?
Oh yeah, no, you know what? I uploaded that because I'm trying to tell people about looking for videos. I mean, I'm looking for suspicious white cars with
Yes.
weird things on
Markings.
them.
Mm.
Exactly, and that is
Decals and that.
exactly that actually. I think that is a USIC. I think that's what it says on it. I can't see it right now, but
Yeah, you
if
can't
you
see
look
it
that.
clearly because you took it through a fence, and the fence is
Actually,
having
no,
an
it's
effect.
from my windshield, and the sun was on my dashboard, so it kind of distorted a little bit. But because
Ah,
I didn't want to get out of the car because the guy was kind of looking at me, and he was. I mean, I was like, well, all right, look, I'm just gonna take the picture like this. But I looked up the company's name, and apparently the company is the some sort of technology company that sets up the infrastructure for communication.
Oh,
So
oh,
I'm just telling people in New York, when you see white cars, white vans,
mm-hmm.
around your school, well,
yeah.
not your school, but I mean around your children's school, which no one's going to look for. That's the thing. So I'm just going to kind of drive around. I have some time. I think I might have off tomorrow. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Uh,
I haven't heard, from my company yet if I have off
Yeah.
tomorrow. I probably do,
I
but
mean,
I'll just drive around and find these
I mean,
cars.
they look
That's
innocent enough, don't they? They look innocent enough, these vehicles,
well,
don't they?
that's they're
Unassuming.
not going to exactly. They're not going to have tinted windows on them. They're not going to be. They have to be innocent. They have to be
Yeah.
in this little vehicle. And kind of they pull up, and that's how they. I would think 5G network. Look, if you're a technician, if anybody's a technician out there, to hook something like this up in schools is you don't need a big truck. You don't need an 18-wheeler to do this. I mean, you just need a couple of boxes and some wires, and there you go. That's all you need. I mean, I'm no technician, but it doesn't take much to hook something like this up in schools. But
Right.
I don't know if this is unsafe for children. I don't know if it's unsafe for us. I have no idea about, anything with this 60 megahertz, wave that they're going to push out there, because I myself has not felt any effect at all with
Right.
anything like this.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, I don't, yeah, exactly. Not yet. And I've already looked it up. I mean, there's, if you have any problems breathing or anything like that, but I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
yet
Yeah.
to what
there's
cost
no
is it
reason.
going to be to have this high-speed communications technology? I mean, do we really need it? I mean, look at
No,
Britain.
we don't.
The British, right? The British government has just said that they're going to try and introduce laws whereby
Yeah, I see the
mobile
pictures.
phone companies that make their phones have to make them last longer than 1 year. The thing is, they do last longer than 1 year, because I've still got my iPhone 4 still running from 2008 model. I've still got it running. It
Wow.
works perfectly, perfectly working. All right. I'm using an iPhone 6 that I've had that since 2014. Now, the only reason why I got that was because the YouTube and Skype upgraded their versions and it wouldn't support the iPhone 4. So you had to either upgrade or you're left out
Or
of the loop. You see what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So the British government is looking into that. And there's a company in Britain called, is it Car Phones Warehouse, right? They're closing down because
Wow.
people are starting to keep their phones longer, but they're not making any money. So they're closing down all 50 stores that they've got across the UK. Car Phone Warehouse, they're known as. They've been around for quite a while in the UK. This morning's news, they're closing down, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so I've always been the type to make things last myself. I'm not
Yeah.
a person that wants to buy a new model every year. That's not what I'm about. I'm about taking the thing that I've
Right.
got and making it last as long as I possibly can. And the reason why I'm doing that is that I want to put Apple to shame. I said, you and Microsoft and YouTube have forced the customer to keep upgrading, and that's wrong. That wasn't Steve Jobs' idea. Steve Jobs wasn't about making money. Do you know what? Steve Jobs was a revolutionary. And if you look at the Apple building, the new one, it resembles the flat Earth.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
go look at it. Go type in Steve Jobs is a flat earther, right? And look at the Apple building. Okay, it's a circle like the flat Earth, and the inside is all the offices. It's a beautifully designed building. Okay, he was trying to let us know. I always felt that this iPhone was a revolutionary tool. It wasn't just a tool for games. It was to unite humanity, to take back the world that we've lost.
Oh,
That's why these
wow.
phones were being built. And his number one worry and concern was battery life on the actual phone. Okay. And he always ensured that the batteries would last longer. He wasn't about making money from the customer and giving you bad service, which is what Apple's doing at the moment under Tim Cook's leadership at the moment, right? Apple is really doing the customer a disservice
Yes.
at the
Jen,
moment. Steve Jobs was not like that at all.
that was very
Wow.
well said, and I'll tell you,
Yes.
I agree with you on that, because you know what? Look, Steve Jobs,
Yeah,
unfortunately, was chosen. Okay, I
yeah,
understand all of his technology and everything that was invented. They needed some sort of technical information that was going to give out information on everybody that's here. He didn't
yeah.
realize it. Okay. And yes, in a way, yes, absolutely. You know what? He created something. Maybe I'm not 100% sure about that, but he did create something
Mm.
that is going to interconnect all of us
Yes.
and relay all of our information out there. And they have all of our information right now, whether we like it or not. I don't
Yeah.
care.
I
I
don't care.
made up
I don't
different,
care.
emails and stuff like that.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Mm.
I asked my daughter-in-law to send this to me, but they've got morning a bit of information. HMRC have set up a helpline specifically for self-employed and business who will be struggling due to what was going on now. The coronavirus helpline is 0300 456 3565. And then obviously this is apparently they will give you advice on your tax and your benefits, and you can claim. I'm not ashamed to call them, and neither should any of you. Hope we all get through this.
Right.
Wow,
That's
I'm
good.
surprised they even sent that out. We've got
No,
nothing
this
here.
is somebody else sending out. But hope we can all get through this. Please share to all self-employed. That's in the UK, so I'm going to ring there tomorrow.
Oh, that's great.
Yes,
Yeah, let us know what
absolutely
happens.
right, Karen. Absolutely right, Karen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I
Really.
put the number out. Hopefully
It's no
everybody
fault
gets
of your own.
It's 0300 456 3565 for anybody in the UK. That's for the coronavirus helpline and benefits.
Oh, that's
I can't
very
imagine
nice.
you'll be able to
Excellent.
get through to them, though, will you? It'll just be busy the whole time.
Probably.
Oh, it might be, yes.
It's, I mean, it's at this point, no, call early in the morning. I would assume they probably don't open until 8 o'clock a.m. But yeah, but back to Jin. Yes, you know what? He did create something like this. Steve Jobs he had a vision, and he made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the people who have taken over the company, the new,
Tim Cook.
CEO.
Tim Cook.
Yeah, Tim, is a total disaster. I mean, it's all about money with him.
Disaster.
He's going to get the battery power on all these phones suck. We all know that. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
They go out in 2 or 3 years. Your smartphones are ridiculous. You try to keep onto them as long as you can. I actually just paid my smartphone off.
Doing.
2 years took me to pay this thing off.
Wow.
Because they do that.
That's right.
They do that monthly. That $40 monthly payment on top of your bill. But now I'm paid off. I'm not going to get a new smartphone. And who will? They're all the same. They're all the same. They haven't changed in 10 years.
Exactly.
Right.
Or almost 12 years now.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Now, my iPhone 4, it's immaculate. There's no scratches on it because it's always had a seal. It's always lived in a case. So it looks like it's just come out of the box if you were to look at it, okay? Literally, it's that good, okay? And it still works. Now, I had to replace the battery on the iPhone 6 because it started to swell up in the case to the point where it pushed the screen out and you could see the battery swelling up, okay?
Oh, wow.
Remember, this is 2014. So last year, August last year, I decided to order the battery, do-it-yourself kit. Look on the YouTube how to do it. It took them like 20 minutes to do it. It took me 2.5 hours. All the little screws, the sweats, the roller coaster emotional ride. Have I connected it properly? 4 or 5 times. I did it anyway. I've done the battery, done it well. But what CC is correct. The inside of this phone is unbelievably bare. The components are so tiny.
Yeah.
You think, how did they justify £1,000? It's a joke. Because I looked inside there, I was shocked. Because I was expecting to see, you know what? This is what I expected to see. Layers and layers of
Expected to see a computer.
Yeah. I expected to see layers and layers of micro circuit boards plus components, but it's nothing like that. It's these little processors that are joined together in an L shape. And then you've got the rest of the gap for the battery. It's that simple.
Wow.
And they're charging $1,000.
Yeah, a grand. I mean, it's so simple that they're manufacturing these phones, and for $200 probably. They're from God knows where, probably from China. I would think.
No, you're right.
And
China.
China. I mean, and now they're charging $1,500. If I was to buy one of these I have a Note 8. That's what I have, a Galaxy Note 8. Okay, and if I was to buy whatever the newest one is out now, whatever the Note 10, I think, or they're not up to 11 yet, but that would probably cost me $1,500. $1,500. If you were to tell me 10 years ago I was going to spend $1,500 for a mobile phone,
I know.
Come on.
Right.
My first phone was a flip up.
You know when you accidentally smash your screen like Karen does now and again. Your screen gets broken,
Right.
broken,
There
you
you
know
go.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and my wife is the same, smashes the phone, okay?
Mhm.
Now, they do not offer a repair service here in Japan. You've got to get a new phone, okay? Right.
Right.
Oh,
In
okay.
America now, in America,
You
there
could
are
get that
people who
screen
have got
fixed.
the Apple Mac. You know the Apple Mac, the computer thing they've got, the Apple Mac computer, right? And sometimes it doesn't switch on, okay? The connection's gone. When they go to Apple, they're saying to the customer, it's going to be about $1,000 to repair it. And when you work it out, you end up buying a new one, right? But there is a man in America, there's a man in the US who repairs those things for like $5.
Wow.
$5 or even free, because it was just a little loose connection. There you go. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
He's that
yes.
he actually shows you how to repair it live. He's got his camera on everything. He's showing exactly what he does. This is what Apple don't want you to know, he says. And
Oh
he
my
opens the whole thing
gosh.
up. They use these horrible screws so you can't open it. But here we are. I've got the screws. Look, and he opens everything up. And he goes, that was the problem. Now it's just a replacement part. $10. There you go. And that's all they had to do. But they charged the customer.
Guess what? When I broke my screen to do it through whatever shop it was that gave me the contract, they said they wanted 200. It was it's obviously a Samsung one, but it was 250 quid for the screen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Oh,
finally, Apple wanted to sue this repairman for repairing Apple's products
Yeah,
because he
because you
wasn't
have to be a certain.
licensed. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
you have to be licensed to do that. Yep.
yeah. But he took him to court.
mm.
They took him to court, and Apple lost.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah,
That's
they lost the
good.
case. Yeah, they didn't have a case on him. They couldn't sue him because
Great.
once the customer buys the product, it belongs to
Oh,
the
sorry,
customer.
guys. I have a call
So,
coming in. I'll get right back to you.
yeah, no problem, CC,
Okay.
yeah. So when a customer buys an Apple product, Apple wants you to keep it and give it to them to repair, so they own the product. But the law is, once you buy that product, it's yours. You can do what you want with it. You're not
Yes.
tied to Apple.
That's
So if you want to go
great.
to a private repairman, you can go to the private repairman. That's it.
Wow. Oh,
Because
I'm
Apple
glad
charges a lot of money in the
is like
US
that.
for repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
That's great
Mm.
then. They didn't win their suit. I'm glad
Yeah. No, they didn't win
that
the suit
Apple
at all
didn't win
because
their lawsuit. That's
well,
great.
it would mean that you buy the product, but Apple owns it. How can that be? How can Apple own
You're
your product
right.
that you pay for?
I know.
That's absurd, isn't
That's
it? Yeah.
right.
That's what I mean.
Then.
Tim
Yes.
Cook, from the moment I reckon Steve Jobs was poisoned anyway, right? You know why I say this? Because Steve Jobs, this iPhone was revolutionary. And I mean by every letter of the word, in that it could incite revolutions, I'm telling you. Once people
Yeah.
look what happened in in Libya, Egypt. It was because of the smartphone that they were all able to link up and have that revolution. It was
Yeah.
smartphone technology that powered that revolution in Libya and Egypt. Okay,
Wow.
right,
That was the Nokia phone, wasn't it? Because they had
right,
Nokia chat and they couldn't monitor Nokia chat or something. Yeah, the Nokia phones. Do you remember
right,
them?
right. But it
Yes.
was a smartphone thing. This is what Steve Jobs was about. Okay, and they poisoned him because this is a man that was uncontrollable. He was such
Yeah.
an entrepreneur. They don't know what he's going to think of next. They couldn't keep up with him. And like I said, his number one concern was the product shouldn't be too expensive. It's got to be affordable. Okay, right?
Yes.
And the release of new products, there had to be a reason for the new products, or he would delay it if it was too
Right.
early. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't about making money, Steve Jobs. He was about the product and the interface with the customer. Those were his own words all the
Yeah.
time. And then he's got this poison, but he's been poisoned in his pancreas. Okay, right. So he's got this cancer. But in the meantime, he's building this beautiful building in the shape of, the flat Earth circle. That's what it
Yes.
is. It's a
Wow.
circle. And he
Wow.
said that the design of this building, you fit more people in this building and it doesn't take up that much space. And he had about four layers of pavements for parking. The site was a Hewlett Packard site. He used to work for Hewlett Packard, Okay,
Oh,
and he
wow.
actually bought the site from them. He bought the site from, because Hewlett Packard was looking to sell it. So he bought the site back. He replanted the apricot trees that used to be there, right? Built the
Oh,
building in a circle. The inside of the building has got a lake and everything inside the circle of this. It's
oh,
beautiful.
wow.
You've
Oh,
got
it
to look at it.
sounds like it.
Let me see.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find it. If
Oh,
I can find it, I'll
okay.
put it in. I'll put it in the back
Oh,
chat
it
for you
sounds
because it
amazing.
is fantastic. Yeah, Steve Jobs was a revolutionary. I knew he was. I could feel. I could sense it. He wasn't
Yeah.
saying it out loud. He wasn't saying it out loud, but the product was speaking loud enough. Right? He
Yes.
didn't have to use words. He didn't have to use
Yes.
words. And
Right.
his legacy is that building. The legacy is the building that he made. He left behind. That's
Yes.
the final key for me,
Oh,
anyway.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yes.
And there was a documentary called "Steve Jobs is a Flat Earther," and I thought, wow.
Anyway, we got off topic tonight because tonight was talking about
Sorry.
what's happening today. Oh, that's all right. Well, it sort of is today's topic, isn't it? But we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. We'll wait a few more minutes to see if Cece comes back. But yeah, I'm just so amazed at what's happening. I'm
Yes.
just so amazed.
Yeah. Well, I'm
And
sorry to hear if
I
you've been
am
affected by
too.
it, but
I
that's
am
not good.
too. It's I'm just amazed and dismayed too. I'm very dismayed at what's happening. I'm just really just can't believe it, and I don't know how it's gonna end. I mean, it seems like we would have a depression or something, from all of this, that we could head for a depression, I would think. But it's just awful.
If we're not already in it, we're already in it. I think.
Exactly. I think so too, Jen. Yes. It's really awful. But it sounds like
Yeah.
things are better in Japan. At least people are more carrying on with things, it sounds
yeah,
like.
we do just all carried on with our lives and just got on with it.
Exactly. I know. I feel like we've just
But
given them.
there's so many messages going out, and like when you hear that there's military in London, it just goes on and on
Yes.
and on. There's other things involved in here, and the PM is giving out messages, and other countries are saying they're on lockdown.
Oh, I know. It becomes very alarming to me, don't you think?
I'm
It's
amazed.
yes.
But we did sort of know it was coming because this is all we've been talking about for months.
I know.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just increased, every week or something. It just like increased a little bit more. It started
We have
out.
said that a few times, haven't we, Amy? Like we're ramping
Yes.
it up.
Yes, ramping it up, because you were the first person I saw to make a video about it, Karen, and when you weren't
Oh,
sure if it was like a lot of hype or what it was, but you were the first person that I saw on YouTube to have a video about it. Then I saw a few other channels starting to mention it, and it just kept escalating, slowly but surely, till we got to this.
we've just lost Jin, by the way.
Oh no, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
heard
just
some.
you and me again, Amy.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know. I'm a bit gobsmacked because I never thought they would put us into a world recession
I
through it.
didn't
But
either.
we did talk a few weeks ago about the fact that it was going to happen through a health thing, not a court thing, not through the government.
Exactly.
And this is
Yeah,
exactly how it's happening.
I know. And to use a health scare like this, um, that's
Right. Right. I'm
oh,
back.
you're
Sorry.
back. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Karen and I were just saying how they used a health scare to bring all this about, all this control and what it's done to the economy. And here they use something with the health scare to bring it all about, using this thing about this virus. And that's how they have been able to bring all this crazy catastrophe to pass. It's just awful.
It is.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It really is. But well, can we just like Cece's gone? I don't know how long he's going to be. We've been
He's on
going
a
for an
call.
hour
He
and
said.
20 minutes.
Yeah, he said
Yeah,
he's on a call. He'll be right back. He said.
yeah, but he's not. That was about 9 minutes ago. But we can always come back in a few days' time, maybe, or next week, and come and talk a bit more about it. We might know a little more by then.
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
I
if that's what
know.
you
See
want.
how much more has changed. Yeah.
Should we do that then? Whether hopefully Jin can join, Cece can join. But Jin, should we meet up next week?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yes.
We don't have any answers. We're just talking. But
Right.
I'd like to say thank you to Jin and to Cece and to Amy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I was late
thank
getting in
you,
there today.
Karen.
That's all right, Jin. We're glad you made it. And to the chat room.
Yes. Yes,
The chat room.
Jen.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had to hit the ground running there, didn't I?
Yes, you did. You hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a few days ago when we had the other hangout, we were kind of laughing about a lot of things. It's not funny
Yes.
anymore, is it?
No, it's not. Eh, It's hard to even laugh about it anymore. It's just become so out of control, and it's
Yeah.
very dismaying. I never saw anything like this in all my life, and neither has my sister, so we don't know what to make of any of it. And we
Mm.
just try to stay informed is what we have to do. Stay informed and not panic, but stay informed and alert and everything.
Well, it's like we've
I'm
gone to
just
war.
it is.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. It's awful. It reminds me of that old song. It was by a German group. They would sing it in German, and then they made an English version. But it was about the red balloons, the 99 red balloons. It was
Oh
called,
yeah,
and the group was called Nina, and it's all
Nana.
about
Yeah, I
they
remember it.
let
Brilliant.
yes, you remember that,
Dun,
Jen,
dun, dun,
and
dun, dun.
they let the
Dun, 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 dun,
yes,
dun,
we
dun.
loved it.
Dun,
We
dun,
would
dun,
sing
dun,
it in
dun, dun.
German,
Dun, dun,
even
dun,
though we
dun,
didn't
dun.
speak
Oh, yeah.
German.
That was a great film. That
And
was
just
99
about
Red
the
Balloons.
it
Brilliant
was in
track.
the yeah, and she let the child lets the balloon go into the air, and everybody panics, and it just
Yeah.
leads to
Nana Cherry, I
talks
think her name
about
is.
the
Nana Cherry.
wars and yeah. Yeah, she was beautiful girl, and she they did this song, but this is
She's
what
still
it
doing
kind of
music.
reminds
She's
me
still
of.
doing
Like,
music, by the way.
is she? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We just loved that song. I think it was in the '80s, and we were young, and we would sing along in
Yeah.
German and not really know what we were singing.
Really
Then
good
she
track,
put
that one. I like that track.
English.
I like that
Me
track.
too.
Nighttime
Me
Red Balloons
too,
go high.
Jenny. But yeah,
Well,
all
should we
the whole
come
world
back?
comes to a
Yeah, to an well, it's coming. The
sure.
old world is coming to the end. Should we meet?
Yes.
Should we meet up then next week for a hangout then?
Yeah, I would
Oh,
love
that
to.
sounds awesome.
We'll
Yes.
know a bit
Sounds
more then,
great.
won't we, when we're talking?
We sure will. Yes.
Well, on behalf of Steve, it's goodbye from him. Jin,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you very
Good.
much, everybody. Nice to be there with you.
Yes.
All of
Thank
you
you,
in the chat room and that again.
everybody.
I've forgotten about you again.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh,
Hang on in there. Hang on in there, those of you who are feeling the pinch at the moment.
yes.
Don't panic.
That's right.
Just try and live your life as normal as you can whilst pandemonium goes on around you. Just stay the course.
Exactly.
Don't panic. That's the thing.
Yes.
You know, it's not as bad. I mean, Japan is a perfect example. The Prime Minister says, live your life as normal, let the kids go and play. So there can't be an epidemic out there. It's just silly. If
Yes.
if the kids can go and play, it must be okay.
Right.
yeah.
Well said. Yes.
Okay, thanks for that. Amy, do you want to have the last word?
Oh yes, I just to carry what Jen was saying, just everybody try to live your lives as normally as possible and not panic and take a day at a time and just be alert and be aware. And in the United States, if anyone comes to your door that says they're from the Red Cross, please don't go with them or let them come in. I was just warned about this yesterday. So do not, you're actually to call the police if anybody comes from the Red Cross and says they're from the Red Cross. Don't let them
Well
in and
said.
don't go with them. Yeah, so I'm
No.
glad to put that public service announcement to all our American friends. And I don't know if that pertains to other countries, but does definitely in America. Apparently, Red Cross people are saying they're from the Red Cross, but they're not. So don't let them in.
Mm.
So be safe, everyone.
Thanks for that,
Yes.
Amy. And
Oh, you're
much love
welcome.
to everyone. And just
Yes, much
gonna get
love.
through this somehow. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. We'll be
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
So
Bye, everyone.
Okay. Well,
Bye,
yeah, I'm not going
Jen.
anywhere. I'm
Bye,
going to carry on talking if you want. I'm going to upload this picture for Amy. This
Okay.
oh,
picture.
listen, Jean, I'm just going to stop the recording. So bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. Bye, everyone. We'll be back with more information for you. I had a lot
Yes.
to
Okay, my
say today. I
darlings.
didn't quite get to those points yet. Sorry.
Thank you.
Gone out of
Thank
time.
you,
It'll have to be a
everybody.
2 hour at least, minimum.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, for
Got to
now,
make it
bye,
2 hours.
everybody.
You've got to make it a 2 hour. 1 hour short.
Yeah, I know.
I
But we've
think with
we've
the
got
four of us here
Cece.
on this one.
Well, Cece's not here, but
Yeah, he'll be
anyway,
back in a
it's
minute. He'll
goodbye
be
from
back.
us.
He'll be
Bye,
back.
everybody. I'm trying to go,
Bye.
Jean.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.